Ẹ káàsán, ẹ káalẹ́ ní gbogbo ibi tí ẹ bá ti ń wò wá. A ti dé bí a ti máa ṣe ń dé o. Today now we are going to look at another topic. A fẹ́ wo topic mi ní under financial accounting. Topic tá a fẹ́ wò lénìí ni à ń pè ní source document. Source document. Kí là ń pè ní source document? Source document ni àwọn document tí a need tó máa fún wa ní information for preparation of final account. Àwọn ni document tí a máa need láti lè fi prepare final account wa gẹ́gẹ́ bí a ṣe sọ gẹ́gẹ́ as the name implies source document. They are the document that will provide us with information for preparation of final account. So a ní about 5 or 6 vital source document tí a máa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ẹ̀ ní èní. Àkọ́kọ́ ni a ní contact number 1 invoice. Invoice. Kí la understand by invoice? We said invoice is a document. This is a document that is issued by the seller to the buyer showing the details of goods or services supplied. So invoice ni document tí buyer tí seller máa send sí buyer tó máa show gbogbo details of nǹkan tí ẹnìyẹn rà. Ó lè jẹ́ goods, ó lè jẹ́ service tí ẹnìyẹn supplied buyer yẹn. So an invoice will be sent to the buyer. So ó máa show gbogbo details, the rate of the item bought, the unit tí ẹnìyẹn rà, rate tí wọ́n ra ìkọ̀ọ̀kan. So the total of the amount will also be stated in an invoice. Invoice dẹ̀ máa ń wá pẹ̀lú terms. The terms of payment ó máa ń follow invoice. Kí la mean by terms of payment? In an invoice it might be stated nínú invoice yẹn pé so discount will be given for purchase of goods this and this. So usually we call invoice as a request for payment. That is what invoice means. Is what we call a request for payment. Òun ló máa fi request fún payment. Okay, a ti supply gbogbo kíní báyìí àti àwọn báyìí. This is the invoice, they make payment for it. So the second one là ń pè ní receipt. Receipt ni document. This eléyìí yàtọ̀ sí invoice in a little way. Receipt shows the acknowledgement of payment. Shows an acknowledgement of payment, acknowledgement of receipt of payment. After tí a bá ti ra ọjà or after tí service tá bá ti receive service rendered by the seller or supplier, tá bá ti rajà tá bá ti receive it, there is a need for payment. Payment ló máa tẹ̀lé. Tí a bá ti wá make payment, tí a bá ti make payment tán, that is when a receipt is given. That is when a receipt is issued. This same way tí a fi issue invoice, bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni a ṣe máa issue receipt. That means the seller is also the one that will issue a receipt to the buyer to show that the buyer has paid for the goods or the service supplied to the buyer. So this one is more or less like what we call a proof of payment. Receipt is a proof of payment, unlike invoice that is a request for payment. Receipt is a proof of payment. Àwọn source document that I mention yìí, these source document are the document that will enable us to be able to prepare our final account. Whenever tá a bá fẹ́ prepare final account, I need àwọn document yìí. It will aid our preparation. Tí ò bá sí document yìí, there is no way tá a fi lè prepare our final account. Number 3 ni à ń pè ní statement of account. Statement of account. Gbogbo wa la mọ̀ nǹkan tó ń pè ní statement of account. For instance, tó bá yẹ pé company wà tó bá fẹ́ file returns or company wà tó bá fẹ́ prepare final account yẹn, one of the first thing tí a máa ń béèrè lọ́wọ́ company yẹn bẹ́ẹ̀ ni pé please provide us your statement of account because nínú statement of account yẹn la máa ti rí gbogbo transactions tó transfer between ẹni tó ní account yẹn àti bank bí owó ṣe wọlé nínú account yẹn bí owó ṣe jáde nínú account yẹn ibẹ̀ láti máa rí income àti ibi láti máa rí expenses tí ó transfer nínú statement yẹn. So this is another source document that is very very important in the preparation of our final account. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n tún go through it. Number one, mo ní invoice. Invoice is issued by the seller to the buyer that shows the details of the transaction that transfer, the details of goods and services that are rendered. Then receipt ló máa ń show acknowledgement of payment that you have actually made the payment, that is receipt. Then the third one is statement of account. Bí mo ṣe sọ statement of account ni òun ló máa show bí owó ṣe wọnú account àti bí owó ṣe jáde. Bank ló máa ń fún wa ní eléyìí, bank la máa ti ń gba eléyìí. So the owner of the account, the seller or the owner of the account will request for this statement of account in order to prepare final account. Number 4 là ń pè ní cash book. Cash book is another source document. Cash book is another source document. Òun àti bank statement wọ́n go hand in hand. Cash book àti bank statement wọ́n go hand in hand because the owner of the account will be the one that will keep this cash book, unlike the bank statement tó yẹ pé bank ló máa keep ẹ̀ tí owner of the account máa request fún. So the cash book will show the transaction, all the cash transaction and the bank transaction tí ó ṣẹlẹ̀ nínú business yẹn. Bí ẹni tó ní business yẹn ṣe ta ọjà, bó ṣe receive owó, bí owó ṣe ń wọlé sí àpò ẹ̀, bó ṣe ń jáde, cash book will show it. Now the issue here is that bank statement, ibi tí à ń keep owó sí ni bank ló máa keep it. So whatever that is going on in cash book must also be reflecting in bank statement. So méjèèjì go hand in hand. The difference between the two ni pé cash book ó wà pẹ̀lú owner of the account, ìyẹn ló ń prepare cash book ẹ̀, that is ó ń record nǹkan tí òun tà, nǹkan tí owó tóun ná. So tí ó bá nídìí láti lọ save owó sí bank, òun ló máa fi involve bank. Or tó wáyé pé ó wọnú bank, ó ní láti identify or recognize pé owó wọnú bank òun, therefore I keep record here in the cash book. So in other words, cash book gẹ́gẹ́ bó ṣe sọ ni pé cash book ni the book tó máa prepare, tó máa show wa ní all the transactions that we made both in cash and both in bank ways. Because sometimes you might be asked, ó ṣe ṣe kán bí wá lè pé kí ni ìyàtọ̀ nínú cash sales, sorry, kí ni ìyàtọ̀ nínú cash account àti cash book. Ṣé cash account is basically every transaction that require or that is done basically on cash. That is every account tó bá yẹ pé gbogbo transaction rather tá a bá ṣe tó bá yẹ pé ó involve only cash, that is recorded in cash account. In other words, tí ó bá yẹ pé a ní transaction kan tó require wa àbí tó involve check, a ní fi sínú cash account. But tó bá yẹ pé transaction wa all the transaction that is done, atajà ni o, arajà ni o, ó dẹ̀ involve kí a gba check or ká san check ni, a máa open cash book. So in other words, cash book is ó encompasses both cash and check, unlike cash account. So cash book. Then the fifth one là ń pè ní petty cash book. Petty cash book. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí a ṣe sọ, petty cash book as the name sounds, petty cash book ni book tí a fi ń keep all the petty transactions, all the petty items. Bóyá a ní láti ra broom, ìgbálẹ̀ nínú business wa ni, bóyá a ní láti ra pen nínú iṣẹ́ wa ni, bóyá a ní láti ra calculator. So all these things are not supposed to be made with cash book in a whole. So nǹkan tá a máa ṣe ni pé a máa set aside what we call cash float. A máa set aside what we call petty cash book. So this petty cash book níbi tá a máa ti máa tra gbogbo àwọn ọjà tí ó jẹ́ pé àwọn owó tó jẹ́ pé kò ń ṣe pé àná tó pọ̀, owó tá a ná tí ò pọ̀. In most cases, petty cash book is a disbursement account. It is disbursement book rather. Kì í sọ bẹ́ẹ̀. A máa ń náwó jáde ńbẹ̀ ni, kò ń ṣe pé à ń gba owó ní petty cash book. So báwo ló ṣe ń operate? Ó ṣe ń sìn bóyá àwọn ọgbẹ́ ni pé wọ́n fẹ́ ra ìgbálẹ̀ níbi iṣẹ́ ni, wọ́n fẹ́ ra pen níbi iṣẹ́ ni, wọ́n fẹ́ ra ruler níbi iṣẹ́ ni, wọ́n fẹ́ ra milk, wọ́n fẹ́ ra so many things, wọ́n fẹ́ ra bẹ́ẹ̀ tó yẹ pé kò dẹ̀ involve big money. Instead of us to be putting much body lórí cash book, so we set aside a sum of amount. Okay, owó yìí o 20,000 ni o, 50,000 ni o, 100,000 ni, 1 million ni o, a fẹ́ máa ná within a period of time. Instead of tí ẹni tó fẹ́ rajà ẹni tó bá fẹ́ náwó tó máa bá main accountant afẹ́ra kíní kan afẹ́ra so we set aside what we call petty cash so nínú petty cash yẹn láti máa ná àwọn owó kéékèèké like I said earlier on petty cash is basically for disbursement à ń náwó jáde ní owó kì í kò ṣe pé à ń tajà owó òun lónú ẹ̀ the only owó tó wọnú petty cash is cash flow tí a máa set aside at the beginning of the day the beginning of the business so this is also another source document tí a need láti máa fi prepare final account wa now the sixth one which is going to be the sixth one which is going to be the last one to my mention for today is what we call number 6 is what we call subsidiary books. Sometimes this subsidiary book we call it day books. Ìgbà míì a máa ń pè ní day books. Subsidiary books kí ni à ń pè subsidiary books are basically credit books. Credit book in the sense that àwọn ọjà tí a bá tà àbí tí a bá rà on credit òun ni a máa ń record sí subsidiary book. And what are the types of subsidiary book? Types of subsidiary books. There are 4 types of subsidiary book. A ní what we call sales day book. Sales day book ìgbà míì wọn a máa ń pè ní sales journal. Sales day book as the name implies sales day book yìí ni the book that will record all credit sales within a month, within a period of time. All the credit sales that are made within a month, it is recorded in this sales day book. So, tá bá ti record gbogbo àwọn sales credit sales yẹn sínú sales day book, the total in all at the end of the month, gbogbo total tá bá rí in all, we now transfer it to what we call sales account. Ṣé ọ̀rọ̀ tí mo sọ yóò yọ abẹ́ tá bá ti prepare sales day book yẹn gbogbo credit transfer because sales day book this credit sales it's quite different from cash sales. Ìyẹn yẹ kó yé wa is clear enough. Cash sales which is sales account rather is different from sales day book because cash account sales account or cash sales òun ni ó lè tó involve cash gangan. So therefore tá bá ní kó ta transact in credit a lè dídí gbé lọ sínú cash book wa because it's like name we spell a ní cash book ni pé owó àti gbowó àbí àti receive owó àbí àti send owó ní cash book wa kù but tó bá yẹ pé àtajà tí a gbowó which is going to be credit sales ó ní ìwé kan ó ní book tá máa ń record eléyìí sí òun náà ń pè ní sales day book. In this book we record all the sales made on credit inside this book then at the end of the month total gbogbo sales tá bá realize which are made on credit a máa transfer sí what we call sales account. Then number 2 ni à ń pè ní sales returns. Sales returns or returns inwards. So sales return ó ṣeé ṣe kí a ti tajà fún customer fún buyer ká ti tajà fún buyer tó yẹ pé àwọn kókó lè warrant kí buyer yẹn kó return ọjà yẹn padà sí ọ̀dọ̀ wa. That's why we call it sales return. That's why we call it gbogbo ọjà tí wọ́n bá return all the returns made by the buyer into the business bag is recorded into sales return book or returns inward. So afterwards we take the balance of this account. So the balance of returns outwards book bẹ́ẹ̀ returns outwards is the opposite sales return. Òun ni opposite sales return or òun ni opposite returns inward. Òun ni opposite sales return or sales return. We don't understand the one that they gbọ́dọ̀ mọ implication that they gbọ́dọ̀ mọ ìwúlò wọn. So in our next class I am going to look at 1 or 2 of them that we can actually explain with figures. For example, in our next slide by God's grace, I'm going to look at cash book. So we use cash book with figures to explain it better. So in preparation of your final account, preparing final accounts, I really need these source documents. They are very, very necessary for anybody out there that wants to prepare his or her final account. These are a must or these are must use documents, that is source documents. Mo fẹ́ kí ẹ bá máa like video yìí kẹ́dẹ̀ bá máa share kẹ́dẹ̀ drop comment if for any reason tí ẹ bá need any document state if any reason tẹ́ bá need pé ẹ fẹ́ comment tẹ́ bá fẹ́ ká kọ́ any topic tẹ́ bá fẹ́ ká kọ́ ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ drop ẹ nínú comment yẹn, nínú comment ẹ bá a share, ẹ bá a like.